Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Extension Podcast on Wiregrass Grown. I'm Micah Johnson, Houston County Extension Director.
And I'm Aaron Wells, the Extension Agent for row crops in the southeast part of the state.
All right, so a rundown of a few Extension events coming up. We have the Private Applicator Makeup Training at the Wiregrass Research and Extension Center this Friday, April 10th from 8 to 12:30. There's a spring plant sale at the Ozark Farmers Market Saturday, April 11th from 8 to 12. There will be a raised bed gardening Wiregrass Master Gardener Lunch and Learn at the Dothan Library next Wednesday, April 15th from 12 to 1. Also got a pond and lake management field day at the research station in Headland, Friday, April 17th, 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. An event to talk about that we didn't discuss on the last podcast. There is a Discover Local Agriculture Tour Saturday, April 18th from 7:45 to 1. It's on the website, wiregrassgrown.com, if you want some more information. Pretty cool event. And on into May, and you follow the Tomato de Mayo. That'll be a good one. Monday, May 4th. Even though yes, May 4th at 4:30 to 6:30. And then there'll be some more events coming up in May, but all of these events are located on the wiregrass.com webpage under the calendar tab. There are links for more information, how to register, and hope you get a chance to look at them. It's a good place to keep up with upcoming events. So, again, welcome back. I'm glad to have you. Hope you've been able to tag along for the last couple of recordings, from our first one to our last trip to the research station to talk about what research is going on. I had a good talk with the superintendent, Chris, over there, and today we are dressed for adventure, Aaron. So we learned that in our last podcast, to dress for adventure. So here we are.
Yes, I forgot about that. I had to remind myself what you were talking about the having the shorts ready to go.
That's it.
In case somebody wants to take us fishing.
It's a little cool for fishing today.
It is.
The little cold snap after Easter has happened.
Yeah, it was a little late, but, doesn't necessarily have to be before Easter. It can be right after Easter. So it's not like overly cold or anything like that. No frost or anything. We did have a pretty good rainfall, I think, throughout the area over the weekend, and last few days of last week, especially, definitely needed the rainfall. I've heard some people say they got 3 inches in one, or 3 inches or more in one little area one afternoon, and a lot of half inches and 3/4 inch and stuff like that. I think probably over the whole area, probably got a good 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of rain in some areas.
And speaking of, on the website now, there is a tab under farmer resources where you can check the drought map. We put that link on there as well. Any rain right now is a good thing.
Oh, for sure. Went and looked at a field of corn this morning, and it was planted pretty early, and it got hit by that late frost we had. I shouldn't say late frost, but last cold snap we had when it got down below freezing. But it had actually recovered. But you could see the leaves that were out at the time, they were pretty well burned off, and you had to kind of look close to see them. But the growing point was still under the soil, so that corn came back out of it, and it's back to growing now. So that's a good thing about corn is it's pretty tough crop. So
the soil temperature right now still a little cool.
In that field today, it was still pretty cool, just because it's the rainfall cooled the soil off, and then it's been pretty cold. I actually got out of the house this morning and started to go back in and get a jacket because it was a little cool this morning. So, but speaking about drought, I know pretty much when you look at that drought monitor, the whole area is in pretty substantial drought, and this is the time of the year when we've kind of replenished ponds and swamps and wet weather holes and stuff like that, and we just haven't this year, which is a little concerning. But the Alabama, what is it? The Alabama water. What is it we have with Extension? The Alabama
Drought Watch.
The Drought Watch. Yeah. I did want to let folks know that the drought monitor is populated by the folks at, I believe it's University of Nebraska at Lincoln, and that drought monitor is used a lot in some other USDA programs, and it's used by a lot of people, honestly. to make decisions on programs and where monies go and things like that. And Extension has the drought reach, I guess is what it's called. And there's places where folks out in the community can go take pictures and enter in reports as to what the drought looks like in their area. And those are, because in the past there's been a lot of comments about, well, the drought monitor is really not reflective of what's going on in our area. And there's been a little pushback from folks who draw that map that says, well, we don't really have any good hard data. So the folks in Extension said, well, let's try to rectify that. And they established this reporting location where you can go online and submit your information and submit pictures and things like that. So at some point in the future, that may be something we really want to kind of get into. That way it'll be real representative of what's actually going on in the southeast part of Alabama anyway, or wherever, if anyone else anywhere in the state is listening to this podcast.
Yes, the Alabama Drought Reach. That's just like you said.
Thank
you can go to auburn.edu drought reach, and it'll show you how to report. So a very good resource to help monitor rainfall or lack of. But good point, Aaron. We appreciate that. Hopefully, we'll get enough rain this year, not have to worry about it.
Yeah, I've seen supposed to be transitioning from La Nina to El Nino, I think, and towards the first part of summer, maybe. Haven't kept up with it that close to see, but should be some weather pattern changes, hopefully.
Okay. And it's about that time of year too. You're seeing tractors on the roads, getting behind them a little bit. I just want to make sure everybody does do their diligence when you see oncoming tractors, or if you get behind them, make sure you do what you can to keep our farmers safe. Make sure that, that you don't get in a hurry and try to rush around them or rush on oncoming farm equipment. If you see the orange triangle, that does represent SMV, slow moving vehicle. That means it cannot go over, I think it's 25 miles an hour. So, help us take care of our farmers and our growers. They're on their way. They're at work when you see them on the road with that equipment.
I can promise you, they don't want to be on the road any more than you want them to be on the road, for sure. Between mailboxes and oncoming traffic and everything else, they would rather not be there. So, unlike you, just be patient and don't be on your phone while you're driving around tractors. And
they'll typically do what they can to get out of your way, but they also have to. There's mailboxes they're watching out for, road signs. There's things on the side of the road, garbage cans on garbage collection days. I mean, they're trying to avoid oncoming traffic. They're trying to not stop traffic. They're trying to avoid roadside hazards. So, just this time of year, you're going to see a lot of equipment on the road. Just living in this part of the world, this is the way of life. And just get used to it. And you should be used to it by now if you're not. But if you do see these vehicles or equipment, just, help us take care of somebody's dad or husband or grandfather or son out there on the tractors trying to get their equipment to where they got to go. So we appreciate the cooperation in that. So
thank you for your attention to this matter.
Hey, thank you for your attention to this matter. You got to take care of your growers. So especially this area.
For sure. And you mentioned it, hazards on the side of the road. It may look like, they could just pull off, but you look at some of those tires on the back of the tractor, a lot of people don't realize. I mean, those tires if they have to replace one of those tires, a lot of times the tractors will have 4 tires across the back, and those are usually anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000 a piece. So if you run off the side of the road and you cut a tire, then that's $5,000 down the drain. So,
yep. Input costs are already high enough. We don't need to buy tires if not needed. Yeah. So, all right. So, got a cool event coming up this week. Wednesday, April the 8th, the Ag Career Expo is going to be held at 2 locations this year, Landmark Park and the Wiregrass Research and Extension Center. There will be over 400 students from around Southeast Alabama that will be gathering in these 2 locations. There's going to be some ag vendors promoting agricultural careers. There's going to be some ag tours at the research station showing some of the projects that are going on. It's going to be a lot of buses, a lot of kids, and a lot of vendors. And this is over. This has been our 3rd year doing this. We've started 3 years ago with a grant from Wiregrass RC&D to promote careers in agriculture, and this has been a really good event over the last few years. Always look forward to it, seeing these young people from across the southeast part of the state. Some of these kids are familiar with these careers because maybe they grew up with it. Some of them are not so familiar, but it may spark some interest. So if you're around 431 or Landmark Park or somewhere between Landmark Park and Headland on Wednesday, you may see some buses out there, but this is a good event that we've had, and look forward to it. And hopefully that somebody will take away some good information and maybe want to pursue a career in agriculture. Hey everybody, we are now here at Landmark Park. This is Wednesday, April 8th, and we have just completed our third annual Ag Career Expo. And with us we have Wiregrass RC&D Executive Director Ronnie Davis. The RC&D group was behind this for years now. This was an idea you've been discussing for years with Extension, and we have been now meeting at Landmark Park, and this year was 2 locations, Landmark Park and the Wiregrass Research and Extension Station, to house a few hundred kids. And we want to just hear from Ronnie and his thoughts on the day, how it's been going for the last couple of years with RC&D sponsoring this event. Ronnie, what are your thoughts so far on these last few years with Ag Career Expo, or specifically today since we've changed it up a little bit?
Well, my board, which is made up of 10 folks who represent the 10 counties in southeast Alabama, we're called Wiregrass RC&D. And we are a grant facilitating group. Our money comes from the state legislature, and we're very blessed that every year that money has increased, and we've been looking for other opportunities to reinvest in our community. And job creation is one of those things that we have kids that are coming out of school now, not necessarily know what they want to do, and years ago RC&D did a similar project like this, and then kind of COVID and other things took that out. But we decided to go back to it. The board agreed, and they liked it, and so we reached out to Extension. We needed a partner. We couldn't do this by ourselves because there's only me, and I have 3 staff people, and we couldn't pull us off. And so it takes organization partnerships, and so today is the 3rd year we've done this. We've made changes every year, and every year has gotten better. Probably since lunch, I've had a dozen phone calls from people who've been here today who said that this was the best. That they thought it was much more doable for the kids because they could have more time to interact with the vendors that were here, and we're very appreciative on the university for allowing Chris Parker and his staff at Wiregrass Experiment Station to utilize their space, show what school agriculture has to offer at Auburn, and any other school they might choose to go to. But we're grateful for Auburn facilitating that. And then, of course, we had Forestry Association from Henry, Houston, Dale, Geneva, all of them, Coffee, Crenshaw, all the 10 counties we serve, who help support this by letting us use our wagons or either pulling the trailers for us. Our Alpha Young Farmers Group, they come in and help us with serving lunch and feeding everybody. Staff here at Landmark Park, if you're going to do this, you got to have a place. But we started here, and this is still a great place to facilitate the educational side of this with the vendors that here represent the employers and the colleges and the schools of agriculture that are looking for those students. So we did this as a area-wide grant because it involved more than 3 counties in our area, and our board invested probably a little over $20,000 in putting this together. It cost a lot of money to put this on because we pay for gas and bus drivers to get them here. Schools, struggle with finances to make that happen. So we do that. We've had to feed people. We had to feed the vendors. Takes a lot, costs a lot to put it together, but I do believe at the end of the day, we will change the direction of a lot of lives of a lot of kids. These are 11th graders who are just now getting to that point where what am I going to do next year going into 12th grade? looking at possibly dual enrollment in some school stuff. We had vendors here today who represent farm equipment companies who are needing to hire techs. I know a guy from Dobbs Equipment told me that he didn't believe there was anybody in this area that could leave here making what they can make and over $100,000 a year as technician at the heavy equipment, yellow John Deere dealership over here. Once they got trained and met the criteria of what they were looking for in technicians. So, whoever thought about a mechanic making 3 figures, or 6 figures rather.
And that's kind of the point of today. You talk about what the amount of people and the money it takes to pull this off, but when you think about the reach this has, how many lives it can change in just a matter of a few hours, that amount of money and that labor that it took today is well worth it. I mean, I think we had between 400 and 500 kids come through here today.
That's right.
So I mean that, to me, that's an investment. It's not just throwing money away. You got a lot of people in the industry. Aaron was over there at the research station today. Aaron, they went through different stations and the guys up there had different topics they discussed. So the kids got to see how work at the research station happens. So whether it was an industry partner or actual field experience, that's what kind of culminated today.
Yeah, and the great thing about today is a lot of these kids came from kind of rural areas, and so they have somewhat of a connection to agriculture, but a lot of times people think of agriculture as the guy with the overalls and the straw hat driving the tractor, okay? Well, this event has let kids see that there's way more to agriculture than just driving a tractor, especially those kids that may be engineering kind of minded or technology, the science and technology fields. I think this experience gives them the understanding that there's more to it. I may not want to go live in a big metropolitan area and be an engineer or some kind of scientific related field like that, but there's still opportunities for areas, curriculums that they really enjoy that help the agriculture industry here in our part of the state. And like Ronnie said, very good paying jobs as well. And I think this is a great event because they get to see the hands-on things like up at the research station, and then they get to meet one-on-one with the folks that can help them continue their educational process. Or if they don't want to do that, if they want to go directly into the workforce, I mean, there's people here that help facilitate that as well. So sure, it really is a great event for the business sector and the educational, the students as well of this part of the state. So,
and we have a lot of engagement with our local vocational school, which is our 2-year college system here. Wallace has a great vocational school out there. There was folks here today from Americas that work where John Deere's tech school is now. We had folks from Lurleen B. Wallace, where the only forestry technician school is in the Southeast. I mean, that's a claim to fame. I mean, and if you want to get a tech degree in forestry work, that's where you got to go. We had veterinarian here. Anybody ever thought about being a vet? You want to talk to a vet. You don't want to talk to somebody who teaches at a vet school. You want to talk to somebody who's been a veterinarian, is a veterinarian. The opportunities today, and this is funny, I graduated from high school 50 years ago this year, okay? When I left school, my whole idea in life was I was going to farm. I wasn't in nothing but farm. That was it. That lasted 2 years. But I had an opportunity. An opportunity came along with me to go to work for NRCS, Soil Conservation Service. I capitalized on that and progressed through 40 years of working with USDA and finished my career in a good place. But I did it the hard way. Had I had a college degree or an education to expedite that process rather than having to work through the ranks, I could have been much further along in life than I was when I did reach the points where I were. And that's the thing, I have grandsons graduating this year, and I've told him, man, I said, you can do this the easy way, you can do it the hard way. But I said, the hard way takes a lot longer, and then you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. So why waste the time? Go to school.
Yeah.
And
it'd be nice to And it like what you know now, and
Oh God,
go
listen,
back to and hand it down to.
if I had somebody write me a check for what I know today, I'd be a rich man, you know, compared to what I thought I knew when I graduated from school. And but we've we and Mike and Aaron and myself, we all have a conviction about, you know, we want to see kids be successful. We want to see our children and grandchildren be successful. And that's why we can use these resources. This money comes to us through the legislature is we got legislators in this area that they look at what we do as money, and that's how we keep getting these resources, because we are doing successful things in their district that bring a positive image of what's going on in the state legislature. And with our tax money, you know, so much of our tax money, we always wonder where it's going. Well, what we spend with RC&D goes to good places and does good things for people, quality of life, community development. Shit.
And so with RC and Wiregrass RC&D, there are grant opportunities yearly, correct?
That's correct.
And right now, could you speak on a little bit, shift gears from today's, we know the money spent today was well worth it. Talk a little bit about the grant opportunities with Wiregrass RC&D when the grant application process comes open. And just give us a little background on that process.
Well, RC&D, and it started out as a USDA funded operation back in the 70s, and evolved through that until about 2013. Congress cut funds, and so the state of Alabama saw a need and an opportunity to pick it up or utilize a system that we had to deliver what used to be called pork barrel money in this state. You know, they needed a good clean way of getting this money out, reaching the people in the communities in a positive way. And so that's kind of how we've run our business for the last several years. And I became executive director in 2017 and transitioning from federal government to working with state funds was a little different, but it's come along pretty quickly. But I've learned, you know, that we have a grant season that starts every year, April 1 through June 30. We have a minimum grant amount now of $5,000, which has grown 4 times since I started this job in 17. The legislature has been very generous to us to help increase our funding so that we can put approximately $100,000 every year, 50 of that in education, 50 of that in general grants to counties, to nonprofits, units of government, schools. We do a lot of work with schools, educational work. We have a 5-member board in each county that's called a council. Those people come, one from Soil and Water District, one from the county commission, and 3 at large. And one of those at large people actually comes from the county school system, whether it be a teacher or a vocational person or a school board person or superintendent. Because we do so much money, we have so much money now in education funds, and we want to make sure we're putting really good education projects out there that are needed in the communities. And we support the career coaches are real champions of ours. They work hand in hand with what we're looking forward to develop opportunities for jobs and job creation, as well as community and economic development. We work a lot with 4-H. 4-H has been a real, extension. We have educational projects that probably wouldn't get done under the good name of agriculture if we didn't have that partnership with Extension. And that's a wonderful thing that we have. And then we work very closely, like I said, with county governments, units of government, volunteer fire departments for one of our scopes of work, and our work is to support the local volunteer fire departments who protect our properties in our rural areas. But they get limited funding. We have a very good, strong partnership with the Public Safety Center here in Dothan, for which we try to help these local fire departments get engaged with them to be trained, because your ISO rating is what affects your insurance in your community. So if your volunteer fire department is not prepared, then your insurance is going to be high. So we work a lot with them. We've helped them with training facilities, educational training facilities. There's a broad window of what we can do. We've done a lot with county government for working with some road bank stabilization. fixing, repairing gullies and ditches that are impact work for school buses and the mail runs. It's always used to be, you got mail and the tour bus got to go down dirt roads. So we work a lot with that. We work with other nonprofits. We have numerous nonprofits in the area that deal with family-related issues, child wellness programs, pregnancy advocacy centers. Those are nonprofits that are eligible to receive our funds, and they just do a lot of good in this area. And we try to make sure that we these people apply. They apply for these projects. My board sits down and our council and evaluates those. We go through them, make sure we're looking at projects that meet the need. And, I would tell anybody, if you're unsure about where you are, make an application. It's on our website. It's under Wiregrass RC&D. It's a one-pager. It's the simplest grant application in America.
And on that webpage, it gives the guidelines of who can apply. It kind of gives the ins and outs of who's eligible, who can apply, who can and cannot apply.
That's right.
Wiregrass. What's the name of the website?
It's called Wiregrass. Wiregrass RC&D. It's just look it up. Put it in your search bar and it'll pull it up. And then you go to the grant. One other thing we have is we have a leadership program we do, and it's going on right now. We have about 35 folks that are in their leadership program. Yesterday, we spent the day with the state legislature for them just to see exactly how state government runs. And I think it was an eye-opening event for a lot of them. That was
I can speak to that. I was in that cohort 3-4 years ago at Wiregrass RC&D leadership group. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's been, I think, 3 or 4 years now that we met, I think, every couple months and had different experiences. And yeah, that's a pretty good program.
And that's money that my board allows us to we put it in what we call a area-wide grant, but it affects all 10 counties. And then we open it up to the people in the communities there that want to go. We try to keep our class about 30, 35. And
it's not just the experience, the networking too.
It is.
All over the wire.
I can't teach you how to preach and speak, but I can teach you how to make buddies, how to make friends, how to steal secrets from your neighbors that's working. It might work for you. And that's where we see a lot of that. Like yesterday, we chartered a bus and rode up there. It was just a constant buzz the whole way up there and the whole way back. And then we, everybody's engaging with what's going on in their neighborhood and their communities, and so it's right. It's about engagement. It's about interaction. And, that's what we want is how do you better things where you
You would definitely, yeah.
I haven't. I'm getting too old for that.
No, you're wrong.
Listen, you ain't too old. I have people with gray hair like me in that group. We have the Dale County Sheriff's in our group this time. I've had probate judges. I've had we have a lot of bankers. The banking community has started using our program a lot because they're younger bankers. They want to get out and learn how to deal with community, how to become community bankers and how to engage in community. So they get out there with these folks and they hear what these people's needs are. So they go back and talk to the bank about, we need to look at this. So that's a good customer base for us, as well as career coaches, teachers. We have extension folks in our classes.
That Chamber of Commerce people.
Chambers, yeah. It's mayor,
engineer,
mayor's council. Engineers. We don't limit anybody. We'll take it.
There are people I met in my cohort that I didn't know before that I still communicate with today, and that's been years ago. So
that's why we want it to be that way. But we have a new class every year, starts in February, and so that's something that has really grown, and it's kind of grown like this career day here. Once it worked, it started working well. Is there? But we have to from April 1 to June 30. So you got a little time, but you don't got a lot of time. So if you're thinking about a grant, we're going to start putting that thing together. We're going to the website, and if you have a problem, you call me. You can call Mike. He can tell you how to get up with me. You can call our office. Brooke Etheridge is our program manager. She can tell you any and all the ins and outs about this software. It's not a complicated thing. So,
well, Ryan, we appreciate it. We appreciate everything you and Wiregrass RC&D has done. Larry, you got anything?
I think it was a great event today, and I think Wiregrass RC&D does a lot of good things for a lot of the communities in the southeast part of the state. I know a lot of times people really don't understand or they may not be aware of what has happened in their community.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they may eventually realize, well, that was RC&D money that came through and provided that for us. So
I can tell you, I believe the good Lord would give me a 40-year career with USDA to prepare me for this job, because this is the most fun job I think I've ever had. People smile when you hand them a check.
I mean, we should try that now. You got any checks on? You'll see how. I said,
Check, bring me back.
you still got the big checks?
I will. We can use our big check, and right now we're doing the big check thing right now, because there's election coming up and people need their picture made, and with these events, and it's about the legislature and their support of what we do, and so we always invite them to come and celebrate these projects that we do. So. But thank y'all for letting me do this. And
we enjoy this. There's a lot of legwork that goes on beforehand. There's a lot of people that are involved in this day, a lot of groups, but it wouldn't be possible without all the people, all the investors, and your group and our groups and the other groups. Overall, it's just a good day, and we've a lot of time in the planning, but it's well worth it.
Well, we've grown a lot of partnerships since I started, and like I said, Extension has become a great partner, and we really appreciate what they do for us and what we can do for them, and they bring a lot of good projects to the table out there, and like I said, the education money probably would not be spent nearly as well if it weren't for projects they bring to the table. Soil and Water brings a lot of good erosion control projects to the table that we all wind up partnering together to do. So thank y'all all for your participation.
And we appreciate everybody dropping in again. We'll be putting out another podcast in about a week or so. But thanks for stopping by on wiregrassgrown.com on the Extension Podcast, and we hope to see you again later. Have a great day.